One of the most profound lessons of what life and leadership is about is in this week's parsha, in the name of our greatest leader and redeemer, Moshe Rabbeinu. In the very name of the person who gave him the name and what his name is and what it should have been, we see such a powerful lesson in general, and today facing difficult circumstances. You see, Moshe's name should not have been Moshe, it should have been Mashui. Why do we know that? Because it says that Pharaoh's daughter, Bat Paro, who eventually took him out of the bulrushes and adopted him, she gives him the name, and it explicitly says, it says as follows, Vatikra shmo Moshe, she calls him Moshe. Why? She says, Ki min hamayim meshitihu. His name is Moshe, which means to bring out, to take out. She says, because I took him out of the water, and therefore his name will be Moshe. But anyone who knows Jewish, the Hebrew language and Dikduk knows that the word Moshe, or Masha Moshe, is the proactive verb of bringing out. She called him not the one who was brought out, because after all, Moshe did nothing to be brought out. She did all the work. So she called his name not for his reality of the one who was pulled out, which should have been Mashui or Nimshe. The word Limshot means to pull out, but rather she calls him Moshe, even though it was her who brought him out. Why is his name not reflecting what it should have been, the one who was drawn out of the water, as opposed to her who drew him out the water? And here is such a powerful lesson of what I believe life is all about. We so often hear people say, there's nothing I can do, I'm a victim of circumstances. You know, the people of Gaza have got no choice, they're being run by Hamas, they have no choice but to behave the way that they are. And sometimes we face impossible situations, we say, we have no choice. Life has dealt us a difficult hand, there's nothing we can do. In the middle of the great murderer of Jews, Pharaoh, who made a decree that every Jewish child should be murdered and killed, his own daughter defies him, with wisdom and living with a moral conscience decides, I will not allow him to die in the bulrushes, I will draw him out. She makes a proactive decision not to be a victim of circumstances, but to draw him out and to save him and raise him like a son. A landmark book many years ago came out by Professor Daniel Goldhagen called Hitler's Willing Executioners. He showed that every single person involved in as accomplice or doing acts of murder in the Holocaust, it was their choice. They chose it. He shows with proof after proof that people who did not want to do it were able to be passive, not contravene their conscience, and certainly not murder anyone. Every single person, by and large, living in Gaza or wherever we find ourselves, has a choice to live according to moral conscience, even in the house, so to speak, of great murderers like Bat Paro, to choose not to be a victim of circumstance, but to choose to be a victor, to be a person who lives in sync with their moral conscience. And so too, and importantly, each and every one of us. Our family, like so many, are still going through such a tough and difficult time. As I'm recording this, it's 90 days since our son, Daniel Shimon ben Sharon, was wounded and taken captive, and we pray that he will return by the time you listen to this with all of the hostages safe and sound. Every one of us are going through, so many of us, difficult decisions, and there are difficult circumstances, and there are decisions to make. Yes, things happen in life which are beyond our control. Yes, so often in life we get dealt such difficult hands, but the question is, what do we do with what we are given? Moshe Rabbeinu could have blamed those people, which Rashi brings the Midrash, which spoke negatively about him and informed of him, fellow Jews, which informed him to Pharaoh, and he had to run away and be banished and almost ruined his life and got him killed. But Moshe Rabbeinu chose to be proactive, and he came back to Egypt as a Moshe, not one as a victim of circumstances, but the greatest protagonist of Jewish history, to redeem the impossible redemption from Egypt. And each and every one of us, no matter what situation we are put in, are called upon to make a personal choice. Are we going to be victims of circumstances, inactive, complaining about what has happened to us or what situation we've been put in? Or are we going to be victors, protagonists who say, let us do everything in our power, be it spiritual, tefillot and mitzvot, activism, whatever we can do, because ultimately, whether we are a victor or victim, a positive and proactive protagonist, or a person who is just a despairing victim, is up to us. and Pharaoh's daughter and Moshe Rabbeinu, and in the name chosen for him, are the ultimate Moshim, the ultimate people who always choose to be proactive, to alter our circumstances no matter what they are. Shabbat Shalom.